If you feel like there's a permanent lump in your throat or a chronic cough after meals that won't go away, no matter how many antacids you take, you're not crazy. You might have a condition called LPR, laryngopharyngeal reflux, also known as silent reflux. And today in this video, I'm going to be showing you the exact protocol that recently helped 505 patients in a clinical study, resulting in 82% symptom resolution. When you go to the doctor for silent reflux or LPR, most doctors just hand you a PPI, but the science is changing. I know this frustration personally. When I was dealing with GERD and reflux issues, I went to several specialists, so many different doctors, and the only solution that was offered to me was take a PPI and move on with my life. I felt like I was doing everything right, but I still had that burning sensation in my chest and my throat. Here's the thing though, if you don't address the physical movement of food through your digestive system, also known as motility, you're just really masking acid by taking a PPI, which doesn't stop reflux. PPIs have their time and place, but they're oftentimes not enough on their own to really resolve LPR. Stick around to the end of this video because I am breaking down the 6.5-week protocol that outperformed PPIs alone for LPR. Why is LPR different than regular heartburn? This is really important to first understand. So LPR, laryngopharyngeal reflux, is a condition characterized by symptoms of throat pain, feeling like something is stuck in your throat, difficulty breathing or swallowing, chronic postnasal drip, coughing, throat clearing, voice changes, just to name a few symptoms. And sometimes people don't feel the classic symptom of heartburn when they have LPR. This is because some LPR is driven by an enzyme called pepsin. It's not always acid driven like typical acidic heartburn feeling. It can be driven by an enzyme called pepsin that lives in our stomach, but when reflux comes all the way up into the throat, this enzyme called pepsin can burrow into the tissues of the throat and the esophagus, and it can stay there and it can activate when we eat or drink acidic things, and it also deactivates in alkaline environments, which is why typically in a healing phase for LPR, someone may be avoiding acidic foods for a period of time so that pepsin can deactivate. Now, not all LPR is pepsin mediated. There's also just general inflammation in the larynx that can happen from reflux, or if reflux continues to be proximal, continues to come into the throat, this can drive LPR symptoms too. A lot of people also have both. A lot of people have GERD and LPR. Let me know if you want me to make a deeper video on this topic, on the differences. I do have a podcast episode all about LPR with Dr. Inna Hussain, who's a leading specialist in the LPR space, so definitely check that out as well. I had a client with LPR recently who cleared their throat over 100 times a day, and this becomes a little bit of a cycle because throat clearing actually drives more inflammation, and so we worked a lot on anti-inflammatory foods, reducing acidic foods for a period of time, and then also throat clearing suppression techniques, so trying not to throat clear, doing a hard swallow, taking a sip of water, using an alginate or another supplement to try to prevent the need to throat clear and prevent the mucus buildup was really helpful for them. Okay, without further ado, let's dive into the data that recently shocked the GI world. A recent study with 505 patients looked at what happened to LPR symptoms when you take a psyllium husk supplement. Essentially, there were two main groups I want to focus on. One of them was on a PPI, and they were also taking psyllium husk. The other group was just on a PPI. All of these clients had laryngopharyngeal reflux. The differences between these two groups were massive. So in the group that was taking both a PPI and psyllium husk, they had an 82% symptom resolution. This was the highest among all of the different groups tested. They also had faster healing. Significant symptom improvement was seen in 6.5 weeks. There was also a deeper specific relief found with 51.5% reduction in the chronic cough and a 55% reduction in heartburn. Because again, remember, some people can have both GERD and LPR. So some people with LPR do have heartburn. So obviously those results are really impressive, and it may make you think, I need to go out and immediately buy a psyllium husk supplement. But let's talk about what psyllium husk is, if you really need one, and if you do need one, how should you take it? Psyllium husk is a soluble fiber supplement that dissolves in water and forms kind of like a viscous gel when it dissolves with water. This is one of the reasons why psyllium husk might be helpful when it comes to reflux, because when you take this, especially around a meal, it almost creates like this viscous texture of whatever is in your stomach. And this viscous thick texture is harder to reflux. It's harder to splash upwards and irritate the esophagus. It's harder to move upwards. If you think about liquid, like water, moves so much faster than a thick liquid. So that's one of the hypotheses here. The other hypothesis is that acid has a fiber buffering effect. So this is one of the reasons at Flora Nutrition, my private practice where we help people with reflux, we really focus on soluble fiber because this can help absorb acid. It also boosts your microbiome health, but it's especially important for those with bile reflux because soluble fiber, it really binds to bile very well. So this can be a really helpful strategy if you have bile reflux. Now, I mentioned that fiber also boosts your microbiome, and this is a really another key strategy because some people have reflux LPR issues because of dysbiosis or an imbalance of the gut microbiome. For example, H. pylori overgrowth is one example of a dysbiotic environment where H. pylori has overgrown past the point that we would want it and can cause symptoms like reflux. So taking a fiber supplement or eating more fiber can boost your healthy bacteria and bring the microbiome ecosystem back into balance. Another reason that psyllium husk could be helpful is because it has a natural prokinetic effect. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how you have to think about how food moves through your digestive system when you're trying to heal reflux, and that is called motility. Prokinetics help to aid motility. They help things move through the digestive tract and out of the body, which is really, really key. So fiber does have this effect where it helps things move through the digestive tract in a timely manner and helping you eliminate them, which is important because if we're not eliminating well and we're getting constipated, there's this big traffic jam that can happen in the intestines and create a pressure imbalance. More pressure on the stomach can loosen the lower esophageal sphincter and contribute to reflux. So here are a few major reasons why I think psyllium husk could have been so successful in this study. I've also personally seen in my practice for years, people benefiting from adding more fiber to their diet. So I was thrilled to see these results come together in a clinical study. Now let's talk a little bit about, do you need to supplement with fiber or can you get this through food? By the way, if you're tired of vague advice and you're ready to heal your reflux and optimize your physiology, hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date with more evidence-based strategies to heal reflux and support your gut health. My goal is to help you move from reflux to symptom control so you can live your fullest life. When it comes to should you take a fiber supplement, the number one question I want to ask you first is, are you drinking enough water? If you're not drinking at least 72 ounces of water a day, needs will vary based on how active you are and your body size, but if you're not drinking enough water, taking a fiber supplement can actually have the opposite effect we would want when it comes to constipation. So you need to make sure you're drinking enough water. The second thing I would think about is, are you getting enough total fiber in your day? If you're getting 30, 35, maybe even 40 grams of fiber in your day, I probably wouldn't add a fiber supplement because you're already getting a lot of benefits of the fiber and you're already getting these benefits from your diet. So you might not need to supplement. If you are someone who's drinking enough water, but you're having a really hard time increasing fiber, maybe you also have IBS and lots of different fiber sources are causing digestive symptoms, this could be a great place for something like a fiber supplement. I actually use various types of fiber supplements in my practice, and we tend to use psyllium husk with people who are more IBS diarrhea or not really constipation prone. If you are more constipation prone, I would probably use something like a sun fiber. Sun fiber is a little bit easier to tolerate for those who are constipation prone, and I just think it's a great one because you can't really taste it. When you mix psyllium husk with water, you can definitely see it and taste it. What's great about sun fiber is you mix it right in and you can't taste it. I have no affiliation with them. It's just something that we use a lot in our practice. So it could be an alternative. If you do this wrong, it can be like a gloopy mess. So let's talk about, how do you take a fiber supplement? Firstly, I would start slow. This is the most important thing. You might not want to start with the full dose. Just start with maybe a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon and then slowly increase to your full dose, which is typically about a tablespoon or 2, depending on the person. It's really important to get your supplement supplement recommendations from a trained professional and making sure it's personalized to you. But in general, you want to start small. Have this with at least 8 ounces of water, and when you're taking psyllium husk, you do want to drink it immediately, otherwise it gets really kind of hard to drink because it absorbs so much water. I mentioned bile reflux, and if you have bile reflux, one really amazing strategy is actually taking soluble fiber in between meals because it can help bind to some of this bile that might be produced at the wrong times. Now, if you don't, or you have LPR, you have GERD, you're not really sure, you're just looking to optimize your digestive health, I'd probably have this maybe first thing in the morning or maybe in between meals when you weren't taking another medication, just to make sure it doesn't kind of glob onto your medication. You could also take this with meals if you are someone that maybe is trying to lose weight. You're trying to get that like satiety benefit of the fiber. You could have this with meals. So it kind of depends on where you're at. If you're trying to gain weight, I would not take this with a meal because it's going to make you feel more full. If you want a step-by-step roadmap with recipes, reflux relief modules, meal plans, and Q&A guidance from me every single week, definitely check out the Flora app. I have a 7-day risk-free trial in the description of this video. Definitely check that out. And I recently released a new video on 5 breathing exercises to strengthen the lower esophageal sphincter and heal reflux at the root. So make sure that you click this video to learn 5 evidence-based strategies to optimize your anti-reflux barrier. And I will see you in the next video.